off all these siege tanks now. Those drones really desperately trying to run for their lives. There's Wednesday Night
vVv Gaming
does get underway. Game 2 between Rocker and Sleep. Currently, Sleep taking a 1-0 victory for xSixx already, and it's now up to Rocker in Control's brother to represent Protoss in this Protoss versus Zerg.
Yeah, we've seen some hard luck in PvPs for Rocker, but his PvZ has been quite impressive the few weeks that we've been able to see him play that matchup. And MLG Shattered Temple, a great matchup for PvZ.
Yeah, and we'll see what's going to go down now as Sleep now making its way across with this Overlord. Gonna check cross spawns first. Meanwhile, Rocker is at the 6 o'clock position as the purple Protoss player. And this is going to be close by air, so...
swap out the overlay?
Oh, thank you very much.
Sure.
All right, so yeah, I'm sure you guys out there actually want to see what's happening in the game. Unfortunately, our cameraman is MIA, so I am doing double and triple duty right now. So Matron, my go-to guy, making sure I don't mess anything up.
Yeah, it's good to be able to see the stream. But like you said, Sleep and Rocker here spawning at those close air positions, and really interesting, Sleep sending that Overlord not directly to Rocker's base, instead sending it cross. So Rocker's going to be scouting north first, and he's going to think that Sleep's going to be up there, but in fact he is in this western position. I'm not sure it's going to affect too much. Rocker already placed down that low ground pylon, and this is actually one of the maps where it can be pretty tough to forge fast expand, just because of the wide open area you have to defend here and try to wall off and on Shattered Temple.
Yeah, we'll see whether or not it works. I'm kind of surprised about the location on the pylon. I thought it would be perhaps 1 or 2 more frames over to the right so that you have a little bit more surface area. No real reason to put power on the ramp itself, as we now see the probe finally wandering around on the inside. And what Rocker is really looking for is Rocker is looking to see if gas goes down. He needs to see if gas go down. If he doesn't see gas go down, then he knows that a hatchery most likely will be coming in. If a gas does go down, his Nexus first, I think he decided against it and decided to go for a Forge first, which is a much safer bet, since he may not see when that hatchery is finally placed.
Yeah, I think that Rocker not going for that full wall off, he's sort of going for the half wall off, where he uses the Nexus and he basically makes it a really long pathway to get around the Nexus and up the ramp. So you're questioning sort of his positioning on the pylon there. Like I said, the choke is just so wide. It's going to take 2 pylons. It's going to take 4 or 5 buildings across to really wall off. So I imagine he's going for sort of that half wall off using the ramp and the Nexus. Or
yeah,
maybe not.
All right, so we'll see what's going to happen here as Sleep is now currently zapping away at the hatchery. You can see that a photon cannon is trying to warp in as well, and now in come the Zerglings. A gateway needs to be added, and this is going to be very, very dangerous, as the probe may not be able to stop this in time. 1 pylon is going to get done. Is the gateway going to be done, and is it going to be able to stop enough of those units? The gateway is done just in time and beautifully placed down. The gateway now taking a bit of damage, and it may actually get destroyed. It is canceled as the photon cannon is now up and running, but can we get another building position there, as the Zerglings are simply hiding in the back? The photon cannon out of range, and that's going to be bad news, as the Zerglings are now able to run inside this base.
Yeah, it's tough whenever you have Zerglings in your mineral line, especially when there's 4 of them. They can do a lot of damage. It just takes maybe 2 attacks from each Zergling to knock out a probe. So having 1 or 2, not a huge deal, but when you have 4 in your main base, can be a real pain.
Yeah, right now, Rocker just being very careful using those probes. What he's trying to do with those probes is he's trying to stack them up so that when the Zerglings do engage, all the probes can attack at the same time. The probes do have the benefit of being able to stack up on top of each other, and when they do that, oh, 1 probe does go down, a second probe, oh... Are the Zerglings going to fall? No, the Zerglings are able to back away, and the natural regeneration on those Zerglings simply has been too much, as a Zealot is now being trained, and I think as the Zealot is added, the Zealot and the probes can work together to really clean up these Zerglings, and we next need to see a Stalker, as the Zealot's simply taking a hiatus over there, for some reason not engaging.
Yeah, and just pulling off those probes does so much economic damage, really disrupts the mineral count and the mining right at the start. Right now we see that Sleep mining about 200 more minerals per minute. when he was forcing those probes off the line. So even though they only killed one probe there, actually did a lot of economic damage. And we see all gates coming out for Rocker at the moment. He's got 3 gates, no cybernetic score yet. So really interesting play by him. We've got just the 1 gas going down, so really late gas by him. But Sleep, I'm not sure he's really going to be able to take advantage of this lack of gas for Rocker because he doesn't have speed and he's not going to be able to take a third very quickly.
Yeah, the Zealot's still trying to chase around. Zergling's able to take down another probe there, and Sleep really utilizing the natural regeneration on those Zerglings. Perhaps a pylon, one photon cannon, and this will get handled. No more harassment, as it's going to be quite some time before a cybernetic score is done. But behind this, Sleep has just been macroing up drones, and now will take the worker lead, as it's now finally down to only 1 Zergling.
We've got 6 lings on the way to try to combat these zealots at the front door of Sleep, and this is sort of a weird timing to send these zealots, so it's going to might mess Sleep up a little bit. I wouldn't be surprised if he lost a queen here, but now he's going to be able to get a decent surround with drones, probes, and queens here, or drones, lings, and queens, excuse me, in the mineral line. But these zealots still doing work, and more zealots coming across the field, 3 at a time out of these gateways, and actually doing a lot of damage now to the mineral line of Sleep.
Yeah, this is a real big surprise here as the Zealots. I don't think Sleep was really expecting this many Zealots to just come inside the base. Zerglings are coming out, but 3 Zealots against this many Zerglings, another Zealot now coming out, and the number of Zealots should be able to handle this. We'll see what's going to happen here as the Zealots are now backing off. I think Rocker has pretty much exposed his hand already, and now he needs to back off with these Zerglings. Zerglings are going to chase after these Zealots here. They're going to be able to get a decent surround. The front door, now all these Zealots need to back off and hold the position and prevent any more Zerglings from being added, as more and more Zealots are still being added to this group.
So Rocker was able to kill 8 drones there, excuse me, and he was able to force a lot of lings out. If you look at the units lost, it's actually pretty even, and Rocker has now gotten up his cybernetic score. He's got Warp Gate about halfway done. He's also got a Twilight Council out as well, so we might be seeing some sort of blink timing push. We'll see. He has yet to start +1, and he's working on his backdoor rock, so could be on a 3rd base pretty quickly. And again, I'm not sure Sleep's really going to be able to do much about this. He's got the infestation pit out, but pathogen gland's not yet complete, and we'll see. He might be going for sort of that infestor ling-based army.
Yeah, we'll see what's going to be happening here. The Twilight Council. We'll see if he starts researching anything or if he goes for some sort of Dark Shrine Templar play. Overlord just got the movement speed upgrade. Going to be able to simply fly by, take a look at everything. He will see that the rocks are now down. And I can't really tell who has the advantage at this stage. Sleep is even on bases, even though he does have a 10 drone advantage. And normally Zerg players want to be up on bases, and he simply is just starting his hatchery now.
Yeah, he actually took a pretty late 3rd in the last game as well, so it's not surprising to see him take a late 3rd, especially on this map where you have to take down those rocks. And now Zealots, once again, knocking at the front door of Sleep, and again, this is a really strange timing. It's going to force out a lot of lings, and we've got 5 infestors about to pop out, so once they pop out, the party's going to be over, but once again, making their way into the mineral line, and again, taking on lings and drones.
Yeah, so the drones are trying to battle it up. The Zealots without any upgrades, that may be the only problem. If they had armor and weapons upgrade, this would be a completely different story, as those drones would be melting away at the the side blades of these Zealots, as the Zealots are now going after an infestor. Almost was able to take it down, but a fungal growth prevents it from chasing, and Sleep forced to use a fungal growth in order to save his infestor.
So he killed another 6 drones there, and again, a few lings. I'm not sure he's able to take down a queen, but the important thing is killing all those drones and the lings, it spends a lot of larva, and with Sleep just on, he's getting up his 3rd base, and he does have a macro hatch, but still pretty limited larva-wise when you're making those really cheap drones, those really cheap lings, so he's not going to be able to macro very hard or get ahead in the supply like a Zerg player wants to do going into the mid-game.
Yeah, an Overlord simply flies in. It does scout a little bit of information, as we are now going into Immortals, and Rocker now training up Immortals off of the robotics facility, and also perhaps going to get into Colossi. This is going to be rather strange, as I haven't seen a single Roach yet, and I question the Immortal at this stage.
Well, Yeah, I do as well a little bit. The good thing is Immortals do damage against armored units, and the Infestors are armored. So if you get 2 or 3 Immortals out, they can start 1 and 2 shotting those Infestors, and especially with their range upgrade, you can kind of get to the Infestors a little bit easier than you used to be able to. So maybe adding 1 or 2 Immortals, not a bad idea, but you really have to focus fire with them and control them, and that might just be a transition to getting up to Colossi as the Robotics Bay about to finish.
Right now, it is 70 to 69 workers, so we are still fairly even. And if Sleep is able to stay even on bases and still pull off this victory, I would say that this is a new style of Zerg where you don't overexpand and you just keep everything balanced. He does have one macro hatch inside his base and is currently teching the tier 3, also getting up that Spire. So you do, I have to believe that Broodlords are in the near future.
Yeah, Broodlords off of 3 bases can be tough, but not really when you're using the majority of your resources on just Lings and units that don't cost any sort of gas. He does have out these 5 Infestors, so he's going to allow those to bank some energy, another 3 on the way. And once you get to that, 9 to 12 Infestor range, and once they have a ton of energy, it can be really scary, especially as you constantly reload with Lings and you just do assault after assault after assault with Fungals and Infested Terran can really tear apart a Protoss army.
Right now, Rocker does have the food advantage, 141 versus 120, and this is looking really strong right now, as
Yeah.
he is getting level 2 weapons upgrade, extended thermal lance range, training up his second Colossus, and as the extended thermal lance range completes, it will really be a balance between trying to go for Broodlords and saving them for the Corruptors to challenge these Colossi.
And Rocker for a moment there had a Harvester advantage. Sleep just did another push, so he's up by just 1 right now, but it's 82 to 83. If you let Protoss get up to 80 probes, it can be scary, especially as we now see, yep, Rocker adding all these gateways. Looks like he's going to have 6 on the way, adding to the, I believe he already had 5, so he's going to have 11 gateways, and if you got a great economy as Protoss, 11 gateways allows you to constantly reload, 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 just like a Zerg player can.
We'll see what's going to be happening here. Destructible rocks are getting destroyed. There is an observer that was able to take down or prevent or yeah take down the prevention Zergling that was burrowed there, as we will be even on bases. Sleep did go into a couple spine crawlers, interestingly enough, in the center of the map and on both sides. So he's currently at up to 9 spine crawlers just in the center portion, and he may be able to split the map east versus west and continue to drone up even further. And this is going to be interesting as we'll see whether or not Sleep will be able to handle just this many probes from a Protoss army. Currently, Psystorm now being researched as well. More gateways being added, so Rocker is going to be able to replenish his units even more quickly as long as he has operating probes and a lot of money in the bank.
Yeah, Rocker right now does have 11 Stalkers. I feel like he needs to add more, and that's exactly what he's warping on right now to deal with these Broodlords. If he tries to hit a timing and there's just too many Broodlords to take down, if he doesn't have a lot of anti-air, focusing more on those Zealots and the Colossi, the Broodlords could do a lot of damage. But now that he's adding more and more Stalkers, he just needs to blink in, focus down the Broodlords, and with a nice Storm or 2 in these Colossi, he's going to have a really nice army.
Yeah, Psystorm about to be completed. Also, you can see an Archon adding into this group as the units are now slowly pushing their way out across the field. This is always dangerous. You see a creep spread like this, and you know that damage could be coming in. I also like the fact that there's an Overseer with the group of Infestors, and that's more to keep track of observers and make sure that those Infestors don't get feedbacked. As long as if those Infestors get feedback, that army looks much, much weaker, as the casters are very important. And here we go. Here's the engagement. Broodlords now coming in. A bad Psystorm, not really hitting anything, as the Broodlords are able to now just clean up here. More and more Psystorm, not really dealing that much damage. And the fungal growth preventing units from retreating, really taking its toll.
Yeah, the Fungal actually catching a few of the High Templar there, and he might have just used Storm to try to get some mana, or try to use his mana before he died, knowing he would die in the Fungal. Now we see Sleep countering a little bit, and there's just too many Broodlords to deal with here. There's 12 of them on the field. Again, not enough anti-air, more Fungals going off. A blink in, trying to focus down these Broodlords. Now he needs the Lings to come in. They are coming in from behind. A few Storms do go off. Fungals going off as well. Storm's not making great contact with those Lings. The Lings and the Broodlords just tearing apart the army for Rocker.
And yeah, Rocker just in trouble now. The Colossi completely surrounded. Rocker, who had a food advantage going into this battle, simply couldn't deal with those Infestor Broodlord army. And it really feels like Sleep has hit a good stride. He can hit while the iron, or attack while the iron is hot, strike now, and deal a crippling blow to Rocker's economy as his gold expansion doesn't have much to defend it.
Yeah, he only lost 2 Broodlords there. I'm not sure he lost any Infestors. Those Fungals were so good. Another blink in, and now he is going to lose a few more Broodlords by these Stalkers. But again, Fungals going off, going to prevent more blinks, going to prevent charge there. The Zealots right now doing wasted damage against the Broodlings, taking more damage than they're really doing to the Zerg player. And these Broodlords just unstoppable right now for Sleep.
Yeah, Broodlords once again continuing to reign in. Infestors are just sticking close by. The Broodlings and Zerglings are going to be able to snake in here now and just continue to deal a lot of damage. And Rocker forced to retreat with these probes. He cannot afford to lose even more units. And now Sleep doing a tactical retreat here as we now see Zealots now just trying to walk straight into the base of Sleep.
Yeah, we'll see if Rocker's able to take down a few important tech buildings here, as I thought he was going for a little bit of a base trade, but I'm not sure Sleep is really going to allow that. Sleep does have a lot of lings in the natural of Rocker. These Zealots not really making great contact with anything, sort of getting lost in the main. A nice fungal goes off on those Zealots, and they've got just moments to live as the Broodlords have made their way home. I'm not sure what those Zealots are trying to focus down. They've got the Greater Spire about 2/3 health. They took down about half of a Queen energy, but they have not really made themselves worthwhile here, and all of these Zealots are going to go down. Sleep at 182, Rocker at 119.
Yeah, Rocker is still in trouble as the Broodlords are once again on the move. We'll see where they're going to go and how much damage they're going to deal as Sleep getting even more Broodlords up to 17. And without anti-air, I would have to call Void Rays at this stage, there's not much that Rocker can deal or to really do to stop this sheer amount of Void Rays.
20 Broodlords right now. So Broodlords just going to town on the Protoss player. Rocker retreating back into his base where he will surely die in just a moment. Sleep 197 to 127 for Rocker. A storm goes off, doesn't do any meaningful damage, just taking down a few Broodlings, and Sleep just pushing. He already took down the gold. Now going to make his way in on the production structures of Rocker. And Rocker maybe gets one more round of Stalkers to try to do some blink action, but just so many Broodlords.
Yeah, right now we're sitting on about 6,000 resources for Sleep. Sleep is maxed out in terms of food. Broodlings still raining down. And when Zerg is raining from the sky like this, there's nothing that you can really do. This many Broodlords, no real anti-air to really counter them. And now the Infestors are also burrowed, making their way in, and there is the GG.
The resources lost tab, Crota. 29,000 resources lost for Rocker, 10,000 for Sleep. So basically trading 3 to 1 with the Protoss player, and typically we see a Zerg player out macro a Protoss player, actually maybe lose a little bit more and still win, but he really put the pain and the hurting on the Protoss that time.